Hello, I'm Jennifer Josiah, project manager with Land Development Services in Fairfax County. I worked on this hugely collaborative project to bring a new public health lab to Fairfax County in the form of a modular building in a short time period last year. There was an urgent need for an expansion of the health department lab due to the pandemic, and multiple agencies worked to get it in place and operational in time for funding deadlines with the CARES Act. This project was really unique, but one of the most unique aspects was the inspections process. And Don Cassidy, one of our inspectors for the project in Land Development Services, is here to give us some more information. Hi, Don.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, this was a very unique situation we ran into. I was invited to a pre-construction meeting by Jim Cantor to discuss his lab situation, and I was kind of overwhelmed when I first seen it. It sort of impressed me how they were building this thing here. We did a pre-con meeting, and then I inquired to the Mr. Benjamin Foreman of the Bloomington, Minnesota lab up there where they built these things. Mm-hmm. And he submitted us to all these 3D videos, which we actually did the preliminary inspections by a 3D video. And these videos were like you were almost standing in the room itself. You could almost reach and touch everything. It's how these videos were set up. And we verified the plumbing in the walls and the electrical and the boxes bonding and grounding situations, and all that was approved by us by video. And then they insulate the walls and put plywood on these walls, and from then they start doing finished details, and we were really impressed.
So this structure consists of 5 cargo containers that were cut into and then like kind of put together like a puzzle, and create this whole public health lab that has office space and exam space. It's a really unique project. Have you ever worked on a cargo container building before?
No, I have not. That's what was very unique about this thing. These containers were roughly 40 feet long and 9 foot high and 8 foot wide. They literally cut the ends of these containers out because a normal container has a solid back on it. They cut the ends out where they could actually butt 2 together to make a long tubular container. But then they cut windows and doors in and accesses on the sides. And some of the access holes they cut in there was as big as 14 foot. And they went and they put steel structure back above the door to reinforce the framing, the structure of the building themselves, which was very, very time consuming and very unique way they did it.
Yeah, because if somebody wanted to just use a container, it would just be certified as a container to use for storage, and building really wouldn't have anything to do with it. But because they were cutting holes in it, it had to go through a whole building plan review and then our inspections process. And because it was in Minnesota, that was a whole new thing that we've never actually dealt with building inspections in another state before, correct?
No, we have not. Like I say, it's very seldom we even get conversations with another state, but occasionally we do get a phone call from another jurisdiction to want to know how we do things in our jurisdiction. But this was a very, very unique project.
So during the pandemic, how have you been doing your inspections? Have you been going out to the sites?
Okay, generally we don't go to the sites. But I did make a couple of site visits to this particular site. I didn't get close enough for anybody because of the pandemic things, but I did visit it once or twice. By doing this, I got photographs of things that were happening at the time, and so because I wanted to make sure that we had some documentation, and so we normally do virtual inspections per MS Team or iPhone type inspections.
Right. Yeah, so this was well put together. They worked on this. We had the building permit issued within 4 days, and then they built it, and it was put on trucks and shipped individually here. They drove them here, and they arrived on December 28th. They had to be operational by 5 o'clock on December 30th. So what did they do once they got here?
Well, when they got here, what they did, they had cranes set up in place because I went by the job site just to verify they were delivered. And the
Hmm.
cranes were on site there. And when I got there, they already had two containers boomed over, set on a pre-designed pad, or shall I say piers, for this the structure to set onto. And I watched them set two units, and I was impressed how efficient they were moving these things. And so, like I say, we were called in for our first inspections. Probably, I guess, on the 28th or so, we were called in eventually for one look at the project, but we didn't start our inspections till first week of January.
Right, right. They just had to make sure the lights would turn on,
Mhm.
and then, and turn it over in order to get the CARES funding. And then we were able to actually get it, to get occupancy for it, about a month later. And it was operational and really has helped with the whole pandemic load, that the lab has had to deal with. Have you ever seen this technology that, Synergy Med used for the inspection when it was still in Minnesota?
No, this is the first time I've ever got involved in any 3D video type inspections into the materials. But like I say, all the materials they used there were approved by the NEC and the Virginia Construction Code. So everything was put in there, you know, per standards and codes. It was very unique way they did these things because they framed the walls and framed a false ceiling and went ahead and insulated it and wrapped it in plywood. Then it came back and dropped all the mechanical ductwork and the light box and stuff underneath this first ceiling they got to eventually put a drop ceiling at 7-foot height to conceal it all. So everything was being designed and stuck, put into the thing. So when it got here, they put the cards together, the containers together, and all they had to do was connect different type boots together and lock these things in. So it was pretty efficient the way they did it. Yes, what you're looking at now is the drop ceiling section where they dropped it down. And up in that ceiling there's junction boxes, there's ductwork, and there's even what you call mechanical devices to damper down your diffusers for your airflow in your ductwork. And that's all done through our low voltage systems that was installed prior in these walls. So as they were hooking these things together, I was on a job site there. I said, I want to go out there and see what was going on here. So I went up there and asked the guys, do you mind if I walk around? I'll keep my distances. So I did. I had my, protective equipment on, and I walked around and took photographs of how they were installing these things and watched the craftsmen work. And they were efficient. They knew exactly what they're doing, and they were rolling along with the process.
So this is a biosafety lab level 2.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything unique in it that you had not seen before?
Not really. I inspect quite a few hospitals and times. So a lot of this stuff is very familiar to me when I was looking in there, like my eye wash stations, my sanitation sinks and stuff like that they were doing. And they had a fresh air makeup going into the building, plus with the heating and cooling systems. But all in all, like I say, it reminded me of, like, say, a lot of the labs I go into in hospitals when I do my inspections.
And they have to have impermeable walls and with seamless and everything like that, so that the materials they're working with can't somehow stick to the surfaces, correct?
Exactly. They were the sanitation system, I think, is be pretty efficient. So
great. Were the walls, they weren't completely sealed up, right? They had those drops, and the ceiling was dropped, but did they have any openings in the walls when they first got here?
No. When they got here, the only openings in the walls were the pass-through sections they had for the ductwork and all that. When the units were slapped together, they have to slide together in a certain location. So you have a little void area there. So they had to make sure they brought the connections through there so they could go actually. Then they went ahead and repaired the wall sections there. But most of the finishes were on all the walls. Even the bathroom finishes were in. When I got there, look at the bathrooms, they were the handicap bars were in place, the toilets and everything were already preset, so ready for final inspections.
Very interesting. Do you think that this could be a trend that may catch on here in Fairfax County?
Well, I tell you one thing: if you want something done in a timely fashion, this is the way to do it.
That's absolutely true.
It's like setting a modular home. As long as you get the foundation, you can set that home there and connect together. You can live in about 30 days. And this is basically what they tried to do here. And but the foundation was pre-laid in there, and it seemed like everything lined up perfectly for them. So whoever did the pre-planning did a fine job laying this thing out. The water service and sewers were already brought over, stubbed up. When they set the units, all we had to do was connect them and verify the connections, and did our test on the water for pressure and stuff. And it was like I say, it was the smooth running operation. And what you're looking at here is a picture of the lab sinks and all like that. We checked all the water pressure and all, and make sure they had all my backflow devices in place to protect the people working here and protect our water systems. The lighting system there was just all dropped in LED lights. They were dropped down. They just had to connect to junction boxes above for them to activate the lights. All the switches and stuff were already roughed into the walls, along with all the receptacles, which were all GFI protected, to protect the people from getting shock and stuff in these buildings. And then the containers themselves, since they were metal, had to be bonded. So we made sure they were all bonded back so the structure itself couldn't get energized. And they actually went and put a whole roof assembly over top of the whole operation here to seal it up, so you wouldn't have leaks where the canisters went together. They put a whole new a membrane type system on top. So they actually did a fine job in a short length of time.
They did. I think this was an incredible project that everybody worked really hard on, and it ended up being seamless because of that. So thank you so much for your help.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.